What throws people off about pain is their wrong understanding of it. And wrong understanding of pain, it's pervasive through like everyone in the culture. Unless there are people who are studying neuroscience, they are a lot closer to understanding pain. So basically, when people come in to my office with pain, they typically think that it's where they feel it. That's usually not true. Sometimes it's true, but it's not usually true. Technically, pain is in the brain. It's not necessarily in the body. How the scientists put it is that pain is an interpretation of what's going on in the body by the brain. So pain isn't a very accurate sensation. It's not accurate in terms of like what we feel is real or it's the truth, right? Think about it. When people describe different types of pain, they describe them with adjectives like, this feels like it's on fire, or it feels, cold. It feels sharp. I feel sharp pain. I feel dull pain. I feel achy pain. Right? It feels like a hammer is hitting me. I feel like a pounding. All of these are descriptions of the pain, but those are, again, interpretations by the brain of what's going on. Even the pain level, our sensitivity to things is not accurate. It's not always accurate. Most likely it's not. It's more precise to say that one person, like maybe I have more pain. I tend to feel more sharp, acute pain than, say, Aaron here, because maybe I was traumatized when I was young, or I was in a major accident, and there's a fear, right? So there's two things that the brain is really good at. It's really good at remembering the past and predicting the future. So remembering the past, all of those memories, like especially pain memories, that have come and created this sense of caution in us, this sense of hesitancy. It's good so that we don't do the same thing over again. If a baby touches a hot pot, if you've raised a kid, if they've touched the first time they ever touch something hot, or anything dangerous, even getting cut, the first time, say, a baby touches something hot, it kind of just has this, it goes into this look like, oh, what's that? And then that is the moment when their first nociception gets turned on. Their system starts to realize, oh, that's a threat. Pull it away. And then they might even take a moment, look around, is everything okay? They have this look like, is everything okay? And then they start to cry. That's the initial injury that puts into their system, it enters data in terms of like, wow, that's dangerous to life, so be careful. But then the next time baby touches something hot, it doesn't take that moment to register in its brain. It just pulls away and starts crying. That is the story of pain. What happened inside of that story is we in the world, as in the history of time, of human history, we were in a time where everything was, mechanical. Physical things were the king, right? Physical mechanics were king. And so, right, not like today where, your car isn't even set up in a way where every piece is connected, right? It's more like we have these, everything is kind of electronic, right? Where you basically give the car a signal, right, by turning your wheel, and then the tires turn. But it's not necessarily connected in a linear fashion like like cars in the past. And so because we were in that space of time, that linear mechanistic space of time, what we did was we put that onto the body. And so we said things like, okay, if you're feeling pain in your back, then there's probably something is out. Maybe a disc slipped. Maybe there's a herniated disc. Maybe your vertebrae are out of place. But over time, we've realized that that's not necessarily true. For instance, someone who has scoliosis might not have a lot of pain, might not have a lot of discomfort. Maybe they just have limitation, right? And we all have some degree of scoliosis. So this whole thing about pain is one of the most primitive, interpretations that we have. Why? Because everything from like the most simple amoeba or whatever it's called, the most simplest life form, is made to respond to danger. So if it's because that's self-preservation, right? People who don't feel pain, they die early, right? So if I cut myself and I was bleeding out, but I don't feel any pain, I'm probably not going to respond to it in a way that's going to save me, right? I can put my hand on something and it burns me to a point where I bleed out and die. Yeah, that's pain. Pain is an interpretation. So if someone, when it had injuries or trauma, if someone has is sensitive mentally, emotionally, those are factors that can play into pain. But does hands-on therapy help? Of course it can help. But we have to figure out who this person is, how they're taking on, what their understanding of pain is. And how this hands-on therapy can help is that it can push into them in a way where, if you push into something that, it's painful, ow, we just keep kind of going in there, maybe not to the extent where we're causing too much pain. But going in and working on that area, basically letting the brain and spinal cord know that this is okay to do in this place, even though there's something there that's painful, this is okay to do. And so over time, the brain and nervous system realize, like, oh, I'm safe. Like this area can be touched, and it can be touched rather hard. Maybe after a few sessions, that can be touched with with a lot of pressure, and I don't have to interpret it as pain, as painful. Now there's a lot more than that. There's a lot more than that. But that's a simple example. When I say there's a lot more to that, what does that mean? Well, someone came in and have been getting, it's weird that like clients come in clusters. Oftentimes they'll come in clusters with the same symptoms, same type of thing, basically. But a lot of people have been coming in with head, neck, upper back, upper chest, shoulder issues. Like pretty severe issues, things that take them to the ER, right? So I had I've had a few of these clients lately that are in the ER, or the one to the ER, and basically they just want to give them drugs. That's the first line of their treatment is drugs. Well, yeah, you want to suppress the pain, I get it, but you're not addressing the underlying problem, right? You're not doing all the stuff that I just described. So that's where therapy comes in, and I think therapists have figured out, without knowing the current pain science, we figured out ways to help the brain realize that it's safe and then reduce the pain. And again, that goes even when someone has a herniated disc or a slip disc. You see it in the MRI or the X-ray, right? You see it physically. That's the mechanical part. But like science is saying now, those disc issues, they're more of a correlation than a causation. You see what I'm saying? More of a correlation than a causation to the pain. So, but it doesn't mean that we don't feel pain. It doesn't mean that pain's not physical. It very much is physical, because the nerves right under the skin, those are some of the most sensitive nerves. What's right under the skin? It's made for that, right? The skin is basically like the brain, or the nerves in the skin are like the brain. They're taking in information from the outside world and then feeding it to the brain. But these all these the cutaneous nerves, they're super sensitive to things, right? They're made to be sensitive to the outside world so that we can preserve life and stay safe. But again, they're very sensitive. So that's kind of usually one of the first areas that we need to work on, is just down regulating and relaxing and making feel comfortable and safe that cutaneous set of nerves. Because once that cutaneous set is fine, then the brain and spinal cord typically will be okay as well. Again, there's a lot more to that. Each individual is different, but I just wanted to create a video where you start to understand the circular or the non-linear realities of pain, so that you don't get stuck in a medical cycle of being confused. Like, I have a lot of clients who've been to a lot of practitioners, giving them different diagnoses or different tests, different types of therapies, and they didn't get much better. But when they come and we work together, because I understand pain a little bit more, then we can make that change. And so it's right there. It's like finding a good practitioner who really understands pain is probably the one that's going to help you get out of it the quickest. Otherwise, we serve our modalities. We serve the dollar rather than being client-centric. We are, money-centric, or, even modality-centric. We're so focused on, oh, I'm a yoga practitioner. This person, they're going to get better with yoga. No, it's much more about the individual understanding who they are and their understanding of pain, maybe some of their history, but how they process, all of that's so important. And it does, and then at that point, once you understand pain, it almost doesn't matter what you do, whether you do yoga or acupuncture or massage or chiropractic. All of those are good. All of those can work. It's just how we put those modalities to work. But it has to be that the client is central to the process. Hope that's helpful.